Welcome to Breaking Solo, how solopreneurs break barriers, build brands, and embrace the future of business.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very excited for our guest today, Lois Wyant. Lois, please introduce yourself to the audience.
Well, thank you, Donna, for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to your audience. And like she said, my name is Lois Wyant. I am the owner of JFT Web Marketing. And basically, I'm an online visibility expert. So I help locally owned businesses be more visible online. So when people are searching for your business, they find you easily.
Awesome. Okay, let's tell me what inspired you to go solo in business.
Well, I have been solo in business since high school, in which case I know it's just like craziness. My father was kind of a solopreneur, but it wasn't really that kind of a word back then. But he worked for Fuller Brush. Do you remember Fuller
I
Brush?
do.
Oh, he was a Fuller Brush man, and he was actually a regional director. So I was kind of his, they always stamp their contact information on the back of all their little catalogs. And in junior high, that was my job. I would stamp my dad's things. But, I just watched my dad really grow his business. And even though you're working for a company, you're kind of in charge of how much you grow. And so I kind of got that spirit of like, I could do this on my own. So when I was in high school, I took a cake decorating club and I actually did cakes for people through high school. And there were weekends where I would have like 4 wedding cakes sitting around the house, just all stacked up and everything. And so I kind of got the understanding of owning a business, keeping it organized, making sure I don't forget anybody's order and all of that as a high school person. So because I was into wedding cakes, my idea before entering college was I was going to learn flowers and wedding gowns and photography. And I was going to move down to Georgia for I don't know what reason, because I was living in Indiana. I was going to move down to Georgia and I was going to open up a full service wedding studio. So I had all the experience in everything except photography. I was minoring in photography in college, but I didn't have the experience of doing wedding photography. So I found a photographer who let me work for him the summer before my senior year. And just this weird thing happened. We fell in love, we got married, and we had 3 kids. So I have always, I would say, been a solopreneur. There's a couple of times there where I worked for somebody else. It just didn't go well for me. So the solopreneur thing is in my blood.
That's awesome. I really don't like being told what to do, so I can't go back to work for somebody else.
Yeah. And they always do it wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So tell the audience how you handle the self-doubt and the imposter syndrome as a solopreneur.
That is something that if you're a solopreneur, that's something you always are going to be facing. And I really, I lean on God a lot when I have those self-doubts because I truly believe the talents that he gave me to be a solopreneur are are gifts from him, and my gift to him is to do a good job at those things. And so I lean on him when I feel like, oh, I wasted this day. Or I think my biggest doubt thing is sometimes I'll be sitting there going, why are you doing this? This is not moving you forward. Why are you scrolling through Facebook or whatever? It's like, why did you come to Facebook? Oh yeah, I was going to send a message to somebody. So, it's like, sometimes it's just like hitting myself in the head a few times going, stay focused. But yeah, it's hard. It really is.
Yeah, it is. So did you ever find a time when you thought, I'm not going to do this anymore?
Found times when I felt exhausted and asked, why am I doing this? Just especially when my husband and I had the photography studio. So I got into internet marketing because of the photography studio. I was in charge of the marketing, and we had a very successful photography studio. And there was one year where we did 250 weddings. And so we were just really busy. And there were times during that season where like I would be up at midnight processing orders or things like that. This is back in the negative days, so that was
Yeah.
a little bit more work on the studio. Um, so there were times where I was like, why am I doing this? This is exhausting. Surely there's something easier.
Yeah, I can certainly see that. So, what's one of the strategies you use to stand out from your competition?
Well, now I am an online visibility expert. So I think that there's a lot. Yeah. Okay. So we go back here for a story here. I remember being in my office one time and just looking out the window and thinking, oh, if I just had the budget of Walmart, imagine what I could do, And it's just like back when I first became a solopreneur, um, there were so many things that weren't available to us. We couldn't compete with the big markets. We couldn't compete with the big store, things like that. That was the time when the best marketing you had was direct mail. So there's so many more things available to us now. And I think that as an entrepreneur, you need to know how to use your online visibility because people are searching for you online and you need to make sure that you are there, but also that you are shining there. And shining means having great Google reviews, answering questions that the people are searching for, just being very visible online.
Yeah, absolutely. So true. So, do you see any shifts happening that could change the way that solopreneurs work in the future?
Yeah, every day. I mean, just with the not that it's most recently, but the AI trend is making huge adjustments to um, the way we're marketing. And somebody asked me the other day, do I think the websites will be necessary 3 or 4 years from now? And I really believe they will. I think they'll be different though. So I believe that your website in the future will answer all the questions that people have. So you'll have a chat bot on there that is AI driven, so it'll answer all of their questions. You may not even see them until you actually, if you're like a service business, until you actually get there. You may not talk to them until then because AI will be making the appointments and confirming the appointments and doing all these things. So I just think that the hardest part right now as an entrepreneur is just making sure that you're understanding technology because it's not your competition that's going to put you out of business. It's not keeping up with technology that could put you out of business.
Yeah. So we actually do have a chatbot on our website that we trained with our information, so that they understand our business.
Uh-huh.
And yes, she can also book the appointments. Now, yeah, I actually love AI.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any books, courses, or mentors that have had a big impact on your success?
Very young, matter of fact, Rich Dad Poor Dad was my most inspiring book. I actually made each one of my boys, with 3 boys, I made each one of them read that before they went to college. So that and how to influence friends and people or whatever that is. I made them read those 2 books before I would take them to college. It just really makes you understand the difference between corporate and entrepreneur. And I think that just really opened my mind up even more to how to look at business.
Yeah, I've read that so many years ago that it's probably time to go back and reread it.
Now, don't read the new edition one, read the older one. The new edition one it's kind of like the same wording, but he just kind of puts in there little tidbits. So I liked the first one best.
Thanks.
FYI.
Good to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did that cause a mindset shift that helped change you? Is that what you got from that book?
Oh yeah, definitely a mindset shift as far as just making me visually understand, do I want some corporation to control my future? Or do I want the flexibility of the rich dad where I can make those decisions? So not that there's anything wrong with climbing the corporate ladder. There are so many successful people on the corporate ladders. But for me and my personality, it wasn't my direction.
I understand. So, what's one piece of advice that you'd give someone that's thinking of starting their solopreneur journey?
Uh, only one?
You can share as many as you like.
Okay. Well, okay. Something that is my dad, when I was stamping his papers, really, really embedded in me to work smarter, not harder. So that is something that's always ingrained in me. And even sometimes, like when my husband will get to do something and I'll say, well, why don't you do it this way? And he'll like, oh yeah, because it's like, because I've just got, my mind is just trained to look for easier ways, not easier ways, but smarter ways to do things. So I think there with the computers and the AI and all of these tools that we have available, it gives us so many more opportunities to work smarter and not harder. Because I remember when I was elementary school so long ago that the teachers were telling us about, oh, computers are coming out and they're going to save us so much time and they're going to do so much work and all of this. And I remember getting the first computer. It was like, it took me so long. I was spending more hours working because I didn't know how to use it. So I was having to learn how to use it. And then once I learned how to use it, it was taking up so much time because then I realized how much more I could get done. So with AI, this is the first time that I really believe we can cut back our hours and get just as much done. So I think that just the technology and making sure you stay with the technology and how much it can save you not only in time, but money. I mean, some people are like, oh, but it's got people out of business. And it's like, no, because if you think about it, if you have AI helping you with like emails and things like that, or an associate or somebody of yours helping you with emails and things like that, and they condense that time, now they're free to do other things that's going to help you make more money. So I think it's just a point of simplifying some of those tedious jobs that people are doing.
Yeah, I agree. So, do you have daily habits or routines that help you to stay focused and productive?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I start my morning out with a workout. I go to the gym for about an hour, and then my husband and I have breakfast, and we read a devotional. And then I use block time, so I know that there's my first like 2 or 3 hours is specifically money making time. So I'm only allowed to do things that are going to project me into money. So those are the times where I have to make money. And then I have like an hour in there for like little things like checking the email and things like that. So I really do block my time. And then end of the day, my husband and I always eat dinner together and watch a movie. So you got to spend that time together.
That is a great routine.
Oh, the other thing is on Saturdays, we have waffles.
Oh, well, there you go. Life couldn't get better.
I know.
So, if you could go back and do one thing differently, what would it be?
I think that I would have been more outgoing. I was a very shy person. I still am shy. I'm still an introvert, but I think I would have seeked out people who looked like they needed a friend. I think that's what I would be. I think that as a young person, that would have been a legacy I would have liked to have had, is just looking for people who were like me, very quiet and such, and who just looked like they needed a friend and just be their friend.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Do you have any exciting projects or launches that you want to share?
Actually, I do. So I am currently putting together a course that starts out with how to train your AI and then goes into creating AI videos. I am loving AI videos because you can clone it with your voice. And so what I'll do is I will create the video on AI. Matter of fact, one is being made as we're talking here. And then I'll go in and I'll copy the script and then I'll take out pieces of that script and do it personally with my face and my voice. And then I'll insert those so that you still see me in the videos. And so now a video, like a 12-minute video that used to take me a couple hours, takes me like 30 minutes. So, I want to share with locally owned businesses, especially how to create AI video. And then I'm actually going to include in that course or a segment of that course on how to do your own SEO. And I'm going to share all the steps that I do to get big companies like HVAC companies in the Bronx on the first page with 240 keywords. So
Yeah.
I will share a link with you on that so that people can know when it's coming out.
Absolutely. And we'll put it in the show notes.
Thank you.
So, where can people connect with you and learn more about what you do?
Well, my website is JFT, which is Jack Frank Tom, webmarketing.com. And I can be contacted at info@jftwebmarketing.com.
Awesome. Lois, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure to have you.
Well, thank you, Donna. It's been a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you. And will your show be live in just a couple weeks?
Okay.